Relationships for me, like I had one boyfriend like my whole early years, preteen years. I had one guy
Yeah,
that at the time, and I was like mad sprung over this guy. He was my first
yeah,
boyfriend, and
yeah.
I was like, and he was in Samoa at the time. So when I left Samoa to go continue college, um, dude was like over here cheating on me with every freaking girl, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and like I was so sprung that I just like I forgave him every single time. No, we're still good. I thought he was the one for me, even though he did
Yeah,
all these things. I'm like, no, like he's the one for me. He's the man of my life. And
yeah,
like,
yeah,
when he broke my heart, like, I mean, he did break my heart like more than one time, but
yeah,
it got to the point where, like, my parents were like, he's not gonna, you're miles and miles away, Sia. Like, this is puppy love. Just get over it. You're in college now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, all right. So, dude dumped me to go be with another girl. And
mhm,
he dumped me hella times. I was so
yeah,
surprised trying to go back
yeah,
to, you know?
yeah,
So then the final time he dumped me, he like blocked my number and everything. And I was like, you know what? F this guy. I'm just gonna go and live my best life. And then that
yeah,
day, like, did the do, and I wasn't.
yeah.
It was just like it was so. I prayed after that too. I cried and prayed after that one too.
So you just did it out of like
Yeah,
out of
it was
that.
just like, and like it wasn't. I didn't like it because I did it, and it wasn't like I. There was no love in it. Like it
Yeah,
was just
yeah, yeah.
out of revenge or
Out of revenge, yeah, out of
right.
spite from the other of your ex
So
from your ex.
I didn't like that, and like I feel
Yeah,
like the reason why I didn't really care so much about relationships because I was already in a heartbroken state with
yeah.
I had dated. So
So
I just ended up, just
yeah,
it
and
went.
what did you like? What did your parents teach you so far about relationships and sex at this point? At this, what did they what's at this what did they teach you so far about relationships and sex at this point?
My parents or me?
Your
What did it?
parents. Yeah, what did they teach you so far about relationships and sex at this point? At this
Oh my god,
by the time you turn 18.
you gotta really I for me personally, I really have to know like if I'm gonna talk to somebody and we're not talking long term, then I can't really be with you because when I
Yeah,
was with a dude, like nothing was long term and nothing we
yeah,
talked about long term. I'm over here talking about let's get married at such a young age. And he's like, no, like I'm still want to do school, but nothing we talked about was long term, and there was no goals, no aspirations, nothing. So
yeah.
now, like, it taught me like if I want to really be with somebody, I
Hmm.
really gotta sit down and like we gotta have this one-on-one talking about what your aspirations are in life. And if I'm included, if you can put me in the picture and I can put you in,
Yeah.
we can go from there, you know. But that's pretty much the only thing that I've learned so far, based
But
off
was
of
that but that was your own experience, right?
that was my own experience.
Yeah. But what did but as far as before 18, like did your parents ever give you any relationship advice?
No, my dad did not want to give me that talk. There was a time, yeah, he did not want to give me that talk. So there was
Okay.
a time my mom, one of the days that okay, okay, so there was this day where my ex-boyfriend came and he like snuck into my house, but he was drunk, right? So I didn't even
Yeah.
know he was in my house. He
Yeah.
just came in, and like my room is right next to my parents' room, and so
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so he's like knocking on my door like quietly and like my door's open, but I'm already asleep. And like he opens it and like he comes and he crawls into bed. And I'm like, who the hell? And like I look over and it's him. And he was like, I'm drunk and I can't drive home. So I walk to your place. And I was like, you can't be here right now. My
Yeah.
parents,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, he's just like, well, can I just sleep here and I'll wake up in the morning and I'll go? Because and I was just like, I mean, you can sleep on the floor, but like we can't be like if my
Yeah.
parents
Same.
in this
Yeah.
room are in here and my door's locked, oh no, like it's over for you and me. And so like I locked the door and he slept on the floor and like my mom, man, I don't know what it is about Samoans or Tongans with these superstitions, but all of a sudden she's up that night, and she's
Yeah.
like, there was just something that told me to come in and I was like, oh my God. She comes and she's knocking and she's turning the knob and it's locked. She's knocking hard. And I'm like, freak, man. I'm like, damn it. So I was like, you need to go hide. Like, you can't go out the window because she's going to go outside and see if there's anyone coming out the window.
Yeah.
Like, well, I don't know where to go. And I was like, just hide in my closet. Like he hides in my closet. My mom comes in and she's like checking around. She looks under my bed. She finally looks in my closet and he's right there. And so she was like, "Go home." And I got the beating of my life again. And like, she asked me too, like, did you
Yeah.
do? And I
Yeah.
was like, "No, I didn't." She was like, "You're lying." And like she started, she didn't believe me because my door was locked and he was in my
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
You know, and like when that happened, like she was just crying. Everything was emotional for her, and she left. And my dad had to like come to me and tell me, "You really broke your mom's heart. Like it doesn't matter, whether you did or you didn't, because God knows the truth. But you broke your mom's heart, and you just don't understand why. And you'll understand when you grow older or whatever." And I was like 15, 16 at the time when that happened. And so when my dad said that, his heart was broken too, because he was like starting to tear up, his voice was cracking.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do wrong? Like in my mind and my heart, I didn't do anything wrong because I really didn't do anything wrong, you know.
Yeah.
So they told me, my mom sat me down and she was like, that's your virtue. You have to keep that with you forever,
Hmm.
And I was like, well, what happens if I break my virtue? And she was like, well, then, you're just one on the block. And I was like, you know, and
Dang.
when I told her too, when I told her that I was like, at 18, I did lose my virginity. And
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my God, like she changed. Like, she was always telling me from the get, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it till
Yeah.
marriage. You have to keep your virtues. You have to keep it pure. And I was just like, okay, I promise. And I kept that promise all the way through high school. And then when college hit, I was like, I did everything else. So why not do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And when I told her, she was like, I'm like, Sia, like, please don't ever give it up like so easily to
Yeah.
anyone. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like when I did do it, I did give it up real easily that first time. And like
Yeah.
after that, I realized, like, damn, Sia, like this was something so sacred that I
Yeah.
held forever, for a long time. And now you just like, there it goes. Off of something so stupid that, it didn't occur to me that that is gone and never will come back,
Yeah.
He taught me that. And ever since, when I told her at 18, this is what happened, everything just went, my mind and perspective changed on relationships. So like I don't do nothing with nobody. I don't talk if we're not talking, long term, like I said, then I
Yeah.
keep it very acute. That's it.
Yes. So yeah, that's so from that point, so that was the only time you guys had a conversation about relationship and sex, was that was it.
That was it.
So that's all you had that was the only that's what all you had to go by as far as like being ready when you go into the real world. That was your only experience about. So
That
you
was
know nothing else.
it was like it was very embarrassing for my dad because like
Yeah.
like he just doesn't, that's stuff you don't talk about with him, like with guys. And
Yeah.
then my mom, she was just like, there were times where she would be like, be careful, like dressing the way you're dressing, to
Yeah.
certain events, because guys are, they're looking at certain areas of your body. And I
Mhm.
was like, no, they're not. Like in my head, I'm like, no, like I would wear like, guy, I look like a tomboy all my life. And then when I wear like actual girl clothes, I still act like a tomboy, you know.
Yeah.
Like when I go out, my mom's like, no, Sia, like you have to be careful because guys are looking at you this way or that way. And I'm like, no, they're not. And then she's like, you have, like, will you ever see yourself in love? Like, and then when I finally did get it, I was with the guy. She was just like, you got to be careful, Sia. Like she told me like almost all the time that I was like going out on a date with him. She
Mhm.
was just like, Alicia, like remember what I told you, remember what I taught you. And it stuck
Mhm.
with the whole relationship with the guy. It stuck
Mhm.
with me. So
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say that she didn't tell me, like, but there was times where she would pull me aside and be like, just remember what I said that one day.
Yeah. 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 No, so thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that. But yeah, but that's but I feel like that's one of the things, like relationship with sex is an important skill to know about as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I've had this conversation with a lot of my friends, or even a lot of people on my podcast, that that's one of the things, the topics that we don't talk about to our kids, and then that's why a lot of kids because and they go to real life and they end up, making some, make some, either have sex too early or get pregnant early, or whatever, but that's what, and then sometimes have kids early.
Oh yeah.
So at the end of the day, that it is what it is, what you do. But I just feel like that's why I feel like a lot of times where, there's a high, either, girls get pregnant early in their life, or guys have kids, have kids early, or or a lot of times the worst case scenario is like, out of people get abused or have go and get raped because they just don't know about sex, right?
Oh yeah.
So, and then I just see that a lot happening, and I feel like that's something like that's something that as an adult that we need to know. And then I feel like a lot of kids, that's something that sex can't be. I think I was talking to a Tongan mental health counselor in Utah.
Uh-huh.
He was talking. He does a lot of therapy for a lot of Tongans, and he was talking about sex himself. He was like, "Look, sex is a beautiful thing, and we need to teach our kids. In our culture, Tongan culture, they view sex as a taboo, even though sex is something we do is a normal thing in the human cycle."
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear you.
So we need to teach kids that it's a beautiful thing and make sure like they prepare themselves to share with the important person, right? Like you said, it's a sacred thing. We should share with somebody you love, and not be and then not fall into a bad circumstance in life that something happens to you because of that. So I feel like that's an important thing that we need to prepare a lot of kids. I want to also ask you another topic. So, what did you know about as far as finance when you turn 18?
Oh my God, I didn't know nothing. I didn't
No,
know jack. So I wasn't working. I didn't have my first job till I was like 20. And that's
yeah,
all because I was going to school. I had financial aid, and my parents, they didn't want me to focus so much on work. They wanted me to focus on school. And so that's what I did. And and I was trying to look for, a little side job or part-time job just to start making extra money just to pocket, and
yeah,
my parents were like, "What do you need to pocket? Like, you have all the resources there, you have all the necessities there. So you really don't need to be doing work right now, you know. But just keep in mind that you need to focus on school. School will get you a really good career, and you'll pull through from there. You don't need to learn about that stuff now." So
yeah.
finances, I didn't really learn anything about it until I
It's,
started working.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's for everybody. I remember like when I was 18, I didn't know anything about bills or taxes
Yeah.
or credit.
Yes. Oh my God.
All right, and I feel like I feel like that's definitely an important area as an adult that we need to know. And I feel like I remember like a lot of times like, I just have to figure it out, and sometimes the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I figure things out, and I feel like like I think that's something that we need like teach our kids early, and not only teach them about relationship sex, but also teach them about finance of like the real world. And also the schools need to. I mean, that's not a topic, but I feel like the schools need to do that. But we don't. But
I'm
we
saying,
love both.
nobody taught me taxes in high school. Like, why
Yeah,
did you learn this stuff in high school?
we learn
Doesn't
about
matter.
triangles and geometry that we never.
Honestly, I was like, this is a waste of time.